Launch a new Solana NFT collection with Whitelist Mint followed by a public mint using Metaplex Candy Machine V2. Hey everyone, this is Keystrokes. Welcome back to the channel. I have another video for you on how to use Metaplex Candy Machine V2 and play around with different configurations, where we'll launch a new NFT collection which starts with a classic Whitelist Mint, which is then followed by a public mint. And before we continue, I really want to thank to the first few subscribers that we have on the channel. Also, thank you for all the love you have given to the videos. I really appreciate my audience and I just love the engagement there. As we grow, I'd love to start a Discord channel sometime, so if you aren't subscribed already, please do subscribe. And also, if you have any business inquiries for me, please feel free to email me at the email on the screen or fill out the form. I'll put these in the description as well. Okay, so let's begin. Let's see what we'll cover in this video. So in the last video, which I'll put in the description and you can find a card right now, we talked about what Metaplex was, what was Candy Machine V2, and how we could launch our own NFT collection with its default settings. Now in this video, we'll play around with the configurations which Metaplex provides through Candy Machine V2 and start with a whitelist mint, and that will require creating a whitelist token and distributing it to people, and then it'll be followed by a public mint. So this video should help you create a project which you see out there in the Solana world, where they start with a whitelist mint and then everybody comes all hyped through the public mint. Okay, so let's see how our NFT collection will look like. So we'll have 4 NFTs and we'll have 2 whitelist users. Each of them will get 1 token. And then when your project goes live for mint, the whitelist users will be able to mint and they'll need a whitelist token so that we recognize them as whitelisted, and their mint price will be 0.5 SOL. And then it will be followed by a public mint, which will start at a specific time, and their mint price will be set to 1 SOL. And I created this diagram for our technical audience, and others, please don't be scared of this. It's just representing how everything looks like, and I'll give a quick overview of this. So we'll have one NFT owner wallet, which will be you because you're launching the NFT collection, so this will be your wallet. You will be creating a whitelist token and you will own it and you'll pay for the creation of it. Everything in Solana has to be paid for, so unfortunately these are the costs which you'll have to incur in the beginning. Once you have your whitelist token, we'll create a candy machine for your NFT collection and you will own it and of course pay for it as well. And here on the right we see we have 2 whitelist minters which will have whitelist tokens with them, and when they mint your NFT, their whitelist token will be burned. And when it's time for public minting, they can just go to your candy machine and just mint out rest of the NFTs. And now the best part, we'll have another wallet which is called as Mint Treasury Wallet, and that's where all the proceeds from the mint will go to. Okay, so the first step is to create a whitelist token. So let's briefly talk about what does whitelist token exactly mean and what are the steps involved. So if you remember, previously I mentioned in Solana world everything has to be paid for. So we'll have one wallet address here which will pay to create the whitelist token and own the whitelist tokens. And then we'll have 2 more wallets who will be our lucky whitelist users. And each wallet address basically will own the whitelist token wallet. Okay, so the first step will be to create a whitelist token with 0 decimals. 0 decimals makes it non-fungible. I'll create a separate video where I go in depth about what these whitelist tokens are and how they work. But if I had to briefly mention, by making it 0 decimals, it just means 1 token is 1 token and you cannot split it into half a token and give it to 2 different users. Then step 2 will be to create a new wallet which can hold these whitelist tokens. And this is how it works in Solana world. If you want to own a token, you need to create a special wallet which can hold that token. And that's what we're doing. If you want to hold our whitelist token, we need to first create a whitelist token wallet for it, which is owned by your wallet. Okay, so now we have our wallet. We have a wallet to store the whitelist tokens, and we already have a whitelist token created. So now all we need to do is mint new tokens in the token wallet. So we'll basically mint out 2 tokens, which will then distribute it out to our whitelist users. And the final and the most important step is to disable any new mints of the token. That's how you cut the supply and make sure there's only 2 tokens in circulation. Okay, so that was enough theory. Let's go and make these tokens. So before we create our whitelist token, let's create some accounts that will pay for all the transactions that we'll do. That's basically the pair account, and that will be your account. Everything that we do will be done on DevNet, as it's meant for testing and development. I've already created a video that goes in depth how you can create a file system wallet and import it into Phantom and back, so don't forget to check it out in case something gets confusing, and you can always ask me in the comments as well. But the first step is to create a new key pair that is our wallet. So we can see this is the command that will run Solana keygen new, then the out file where we want our wallet to be. So let's run this command. I'm going to be using VS Code for all of this, and I have a terminal open here. And I'll be doing everything in this live directory. Okay, so let's run the command we just copied. And let's see. I'll name this as pair.json. Okay, I'm going to ignore the passphrase, and it's done. You can see we already have pair.json here. Now the next step is to actually configure our Solana CLI to use this key pair. So for that, we'll do Solana config set, and then we'll give it a key pair, which will be live, and then pair.json. Perfect. And we can see that the key pair path just got updated. Also, make sure that your RPC URL is set to something on DevNet. Here I have the DevNet URL provided by Metaplex, but I'll quickly show you how you can set it up for yourself as well. So for that, you'll need Solana config set URL, and you just need this URL. I'll copy paste in case you don't have the same value. Just copy it up. Okay. Also, all the commands that I'm running, I'll create a GitHub gist for it and then share it out. Look for it in the description. Perfect. Now we have our pair account. We have set our Solana CLI to DevNet, but I don't think we have any balance in our accounts. Probably it'll be 0. Okay, so let's airdrop some tokens. To do that, you can do Solana airdrop 1. And if you have seen my past videos, you know sometimes it doesn't work for me. But fingers crossed. Of course it didn't. So let's go back to our backup place, which is Sol Faucet. And before we can use that, we need our account address. So for that, we can run Solana keygen pub key. And this gives us the public key for the wallet that we just created. Okay, going here. I've had success with 2 Sol here, so that's what we'll try. And hit DevNet. Okay, let's try Solana balance again. Looks good, we have 2 Sol in here. And just to be safe, I'm going to grab another 2 Sol. It doesn't hurt to have some extra cash, right? Okay, let's look at our balance again. And it's 4 Sol. That's perfect. Now let's move on to the next step of actually creating the whitelist token. So for that, we'll have to install a new Solana program if you don't have it already. It's basically called the token program. I'll put a link to this documentation in the description, but it's as simple as running cargo install SPL token CLI. And I think I have this already installed. So let me try out the SPL token help command in my terminal. Perfect. I guess this means it's installed. And I just realized, I think my font size is pretty small. So let me just make this slightly bigger, just so you don't have to strain your eyes. Okay, so to create our token, we have to run the command SPL token, and then create token. Let's not forget the decimals to be 0, and just hit enter. Okay, it's creating token, and that's it. This is our new whitelist token that we'll use. Okay, so now this creates the whitelist token. The next step is to create a new wallet to store these whitelist tokens, which will be owned by the payer account. To do that, we'll run the command SPO token create account, and then we have to give it the token address so that it knows what tokens will be storing in that account. And I'll just copy paste it here. Okay, it's creating an account and it's done. So now we have a token and we have an account that can hold these tokens. So it's time to mint some of these tokens so we can distribute it out. So to mint new tokens, we'll run the command SPL token mint, and then we'll paste the token address, how many tokens we want. In this case, we just want 2, as we'll have only 2 whitelist users, and then the account where these tokens will be minted to, which is right here. And it's finalizing it. Perfect. So let's grab our public key again. I think we ran that command right here. So let's take a look at this wallet in SoulScan. Going to SoulScan right here. I've already set this to DevNet. And if we go to our token accounts, so you can see we have 2 tokens, which ends in ATEF, which matches right here. Awesome. And before we continue, let's import this command line wallet that we have created into Phantom, just so that we have a more visual way to see things. And just a reminder, I have a dedicated video which talks about all of these things, so feel free to check that video out. So to import that into Phantom, we'll get our private key from here, spare.json. I'm going to copy all of this from here. And let's go to Phantom, which I already have installed here. I already have the default account that came with Phantom's installation, but I'm going to import one here. Whoops, that's not the right place. We'll add here, import a private key, and I'll name this as pair and hit import. Perfect. And let's take a look at our tokens here as well. Now, because the decimals were set to 0, it will be visible as collectibles here, and we can see we have 2 tokens of type unknown, which starts with 5YWQ, which matches here 5YWQ. Awesome. So that's all you had to do to create a whitelist token, and you have 2 of them in your wallet, which you can send out to those lucky whitelist users. Great. So now the next step, we need to create our candy machine. Before we jump into creating the candy machine, let's just go over the steps of it. If you've seen the previous video, these steps will look very familiar to you. So the first step is to create a new candy machine config, which just defines what your candy machine looks like. This is where you define your cost, the name of the candy machine, whitelist settings, and when does it go live. Then we'll prepare and verify our assets. Assets in this case are the NFT images. Also, I've created a little script which can help you create configuration for each of your NFTs. Otherwise, I'm sure it'll be very hard to create configuration files for each of your thousands of NFT images. And then the final step will be to create your candy machine. And then it's always good to verify that everything looks good. So here I have Metaplex documentation, which I'll be following to install Metaplex from scratch. I'll post a link to this in the description. You can also follow my previous video on this topic to have everything set up. So to start off, I think I have all of these 2 links required. So I'm going to jump into cloning Metaplex. I'll be doing everything in my live directory here. So I'll change the commands a little so that it works for my directory structure. Okay, it's checking out Metaplex. Perfect. Next step is to yarn install. And let me change the directory to the current directory. Now, this can take some time. Okay, perfect. Now our Metaplex is installed. So the next step will be to create a configuration file for our candy machine. So let's create a new config file here. Call it config.json. And I'll use the Metaplex documentation to get a minimal configuration that they mention, which is right here. Okay, so now let's start to populate them. So the first setting is price, which is set to 1 Sol. That's for our public mint, which looks good. We'll change the number of NFTs to maybe 4. Then we won't have any gatekeeper setting. And then we need a Sol treasury account. This is the account where all the proceeds from the minting goes to. So let's create a new wallet which you can use. Going back to Phantom. I'll actually use the default wallet that came with for this. So let me rename this to Treasury. And I'll copy the public key from here. And paste it right here. Awesome. You can do payments in SPL token account. I don't think we need that. Same for token. Now this is something that we'll tweak when we go to mint. This is just set to a default value, which is in the past, so minting will be live if we use this value, and that's fine. We won't define any end setting. Now we need to define some whitelist mint settings. So let's look at the documentation. But what options do we have? Okay, I'm going to put this side by side just so we can see the docs and edit things. Okay, so we have whitelist mint setting. So we have to first add a mode here. So yeah, I think we should use burn every time so that once a token is used, it just gets burned and cannot be reused. So to do that, we'll set this to true. Then we have 3 more settings, which are mint, pre-sale, and discount. I think we need all of them. So let me copy them over here. So we'll have a mint. Then we have pre-sale, which will set it to true because we want our whitelist users to mint first. So we'll have a pre-sale basically. And then we also want to give them a discount. So I'll copy that and put it as 0.5 Sol. So this mint here is the token address that we created. So let's look at our terminal again. Okay, I had a hard time finding the token address over here in the terminal. Somehow it got truncated. But hey, we know it's in our Phantom wallet, so let's go and grab it from there. But it's always a good idea as you work through creating different addresses and tokens to make a note of them, which I clearly missed. Okay, this is our token, and I'll put this here. And let's not forget to save. And let's go with the rest of the settings. We don't have any hidden settings. We'll use our Weave Sol as our default storage, and we can ignore the rest of it. I think these 2 are important ones, but Metaplex docs say that we should set it to false for most of the cases, and we'll leave it as it is for now. Okay, let's save this. For the rest of the steps, let's just follow Metaplex docs to actually create our NFT collection. Okay, step 1 is to prepare our assets. So Metaplex provides some assets that we can use as an example. So let's see, it's in our docs here. Right here, sample collection. I'll download this and be right back. Okay, we have the assets downloaded. It's in the live directory. So let's look at it. This is it here. Copy this, call unzip on it. Perfect. And here are our assets. So by default, it comes with 10 NFT images. I'm going to clean this up to only have 4 of them. Okay, let's take a look at them. So now we have images from 0 to 3, which is 1, 2, 3, and 4. Perfect. Now before we continue, let's edit the configuration files for each of these NFT images. So by default, it's named as numbers. I think I'm going to leave most of it as it is. Just go through it. We have name, symbol, description. This is the royalties that you get. Then the attributes. This looks good. Then we have some properties and creators. This account needs to be our treasury account. Let's go and grab our treasury account from here. And perfect. And you can add more creators here as well if you're working with more people. Okay, this looks good. I'm going to update the rest of the configuration files as well to use the same address. Okay, that's done. And also, before I forget, I have a script written as well in case you have a collection of, let's say, 10,000 NFTs, then you really can't edit this file one by one. So I have a script which you can use, which auto-generates all of these configuration files. I'll post a gist to that in the description. Okay, now our assets are ready. Before we continue, let's actually use the command line tool to make sure they're really ready. For that, Metaplex provides a command to do so, which is right here. I already have that command prepared for what we are doing here. I'll go over it really quick. We have TS node, then the path to the script, then the command that we are running, and where our assets are, which is in the current directory. Okay, this looks good. Now the next step is to actually create our candy machine. And this is the command that we'll have to run. And I already have the command that we'll be using geared to our directory structure. And this is the command. This is again TS node, the path to the script target that we're running, then the network we are on, the pair account, then we have the configuration for the candy machine and our NFT assets. So let's do it. This might take some time. Okay, our assets are now uploaded and I think everything is good. Now our next step, which Metaplex docs recommend, is to verify your upload, and that's the next thing that we'll be doing. I already have a command ready for that as well, and I'll bring it up here. So again, we have TS node, the path to the script, the target that we are running, telling it that we're on DevNet, and the key pair. Okay, let's run this. This looks good. I think we are almost ready to start minting. Now that our candy machine is ready, it's time to take it live. So before you activate your candy machine, you need to send out whitelist tokens to our whitelist users. And then we'll make our candy machine live. And once you do that, our whitelist users can start to mint. And then depending on your settings, public users can start to mint as well. So before we continue, let's set up all the wallets that we need to showcase how minting would look like. So going back to our Phantom, I'll create a couple of accounts for this. So the first account will be, let's call it Whitelist Minter 1. So this is the first whitelist user that will be minting this. Obviously, it won't be a new wallet, it will be an actual user. But just for the sake of example, I'm going to create all the wallets in the same Phantom instance here. So we have 2 whitelist token and we got 1 user. So let's create another one. So this will be Whitelist Minter 2. And we'll create another wallet, which will showcase how things will look like for a public minter. Oops. Public minter. And let's not forget to give them some funds. So we'll use Soul Faucet for it. I'm going to give everyone 2 Soul. Okay, perfect. Now I've funded all the 3 users and given them 2 Soul each. Okay, so now the next step is to actually distribute the whitelist tokens. So there are many ways to do that, and I'll show you 2 ways how we can do that. So let's first use our Phantom wallet. So here, let's send our token to Whitelist Minter 1 first. So I'll copy its public key. We'll go back to the pair account who holds all the whitelist tokens. Going to the collectibles, clicking on a token, and then basically using the send function here. We put the soul address here, amount will be 1. We hit next and send. Okay, this looks good. Let's make sure that our whitelist minter actually received it. Going back to the collectibles, It's not here yet. Let's refresh it. And here's our token. So this was using the Phantom wallet. So the second way to send a whitelist token to a user is using the SPL token program. For that, we can do SPL token transfer and then fund recipient. Fund recipient basically means that we are funding the creation of a wallet for the user that can hold this token. If you remember, each token needs its own wallet, which should be owned by the user so that they can hold the tokens. And we are basically funding the creation of it. The next argument is the token that we'll be using, which is our whitelist token. And then we'll give the public key of our Whitelist Mint V2, which I'll copy from Phantom right here. Oh, and I never said how many tokens to send, which actually goes before the address of the whitelist user. Okay, this looks good. Let's verify that what the whitelist user do actually has this token now. So this is Whitelist Mint V2, and here's our token. So now both of our whitelist users have the token. The other way to do this is by Metaplex. Metaplex provides another program called Gumdrop, and you can use that to distribute whitelist tokens at a very large scale. Also, before I close on this, if you're worried about funding the recipient, I don't think it's a lot of charge. Let's quickly look at this transaction signature. So going back to SolScan. Let's look at how the Sol balance has changed. So our pair account, let's see what was the public key for it. We can see it ends in ORRA, which is right here. And we can see our balance barely went down. So it's barely any funds to transfer a whitelist token. But you can avoid this completely if you use Gumdrop. Maybe it's something that I can cover in a future video. So Metaplex provides a very nice UI which we can use for minting, which is minting website right here. And we'll follow these steps to create our minting website. Oh, and I forgot one very important step. When we ran the upload command, which basically created our candy machine, don't forget to copy this candy machine address just to make a note of it. We can always find this in the blockchain as everything is publicly available. Okay, so let's get back to setting up our minting website. So this is where the minting website lives. You go to Metaplex, JS, packages, and candy machine UI. Copy this m.example file. We'll copy it and just paste it again. And we just need to rename this to .env. Okay, so the first step is to put our candy machine address up here. That looks good. And the next step is to actually install the dependencies. So for that, we'll go in there. So it's Metaplex, JS, packages, candy machine UI. And here we run yarn install. This will again take some time. Okay, this is done. Now to start the candy machine UI locally, you can run yarn start, and this will start a local server. Okay, now the server is ready, and we have the minting website available here. Let's switch to another user, maybe Minter1, and then connect to this website. Connect wallet, choose Phantom, and we hit connect. Okay, this looks good. So we can see we have 4 NFTs remaining, and this is the discount price, and looks like we are already live. Let's take a look at how things look like as a non-whitelisted user. So we have here public minter. We have to reconnect because we changed our wallet that was initially connected. And now we can see 4 remaining and the price is 1, and it's live again. And it's live because the go live date in our configuration file was set to something in the past. Let me open that up, which is right here. It was set to something in the past. This video is being made in 2022, so we have already hit this time. So let's update this. It's all in GMT. We can have your own time zones here, but I think GMT is just easy to work with. Let's see, what time is it now? So GMT now. Oh, you know what? Let's do it. GMT time now. Perfect. So it's 11:51 on May 21st. So let's make it 21st of May 2022 and change the time to maybe 12 p.m. Yeah, this looks good. Let's save this and update our candy machine. Now to update the candy machine, we have another command that we can run. I'll quickly show that in the Metaplex docs as well. Change things here. Just run this command. I already have that command ready for us to use. I'll go over it really quick. We have TS node, then the path to the script, then the target we are running, the network we are on, the key pair that we're using, and the path to the config file. And let's just hit enter. And just a small call out, we're able to make these changes just because we have set no mutable as false, which basically makes the candy machine mutable. Once everything is done and you're ready, you can set this to true. But I think just to be on the safe side, it's okay to keep it as false, at least while you're experimenting. Otherwise you have to create a whole new candy machine again, and that just makes things very hard to keep iterating on. Okay, this is good. I think we still have our candy machine running. I'll refresh this. Seems like it was already updated, but there we go. It's 1 hour until public mint. Okay, so this should not be 1 hour and 6 minutes. Rather, it should only be 6 minutes. So it looks like when I looked up the GMT time, it did not give me the right time. And GMT time should actually be UTC time. So let's try to find the UTC time instead. What's the UTC time now? So if it's 10:54, we can update this to maybe 11. Let's make it 05 and then update our candy machine again. Okay, this looks good. Let's go back to the candy machine UI and we can see things have changed here, and now it's in 9 minutes. Now, because we had pre-sale set to true, the whitelist users can actually already start to mint because it says here it's ready for whitelist mint. So let's switch back to one of the whitelist users. So let's use whitelist minter 1 and I'll refresh the page again. And we're already connected, so we can see the price is 0.5 and this button is now enabled for us. So let's mint this NFT. Okay, that looked good. And it's success. Let's look at our collectibles. Awesome. And that's our NFT. Perfect. So now let's switch as Whitelist Minter 2. Connect the wallet. And we'll mint as the user as well. Now we can see. Okay, I think things are a little funky just because I have multiple wallets connected here. So I'll just refresh. Perfect. So now we can see we have 3 items remaining and this is the price for us. Let's whitelist mint this and approve the transaction. Perfect, success. And let's look at our NFT here. Great. Also, if you notice, now you only have 1 token here, which is your NFT and not the whitelist token anymore because that was burnt. So now let's switch to the public minter. And if we refresh here, we can see we still can't mint and there are only 2 items remaining. So let's wait for 6 minutes or 7 minutes and be right back. So while we are waiting for this, let's make another update to our candy machine. So going back to the configuration, this is another setting which we have, and it's called end settings. That basically defines when does minting end. I wish that any projects that you all create gets minted completely, but sometimes things just don't go as planned. And we should have a hard stop for minting so that things just end. And if you don't want that, just feel free to ignore this section. Going back to our config, which I already have open here. I think there was an end setting section which was null. So let's populate some of this value. Looking at the docs, it has end setting type. I suppose there are two ways to do it. One is date based or amount based. If specific number of NFTs get minted, then we'll use amount. Otherwise, we'll use date. I suppose we'll use date. So we set this to true. Now the next field we have is the value for this date. Because we are using the date configuration, we need to provide a date similar to what we had here. Where did it go? Right here. So hopefully GMT works here. So if we start at 11:05, let's end the mint as 12:05. Give the users 1 hour to mint. And let's update our candy machine. I've never done this before, so hopefully this will succeed. Okay, this looks good. Let's go back to our candy machine UI and see how long do we have. We still have 4 minutes to go, so I'll be right back. Okay, so we have about 30 seconds until things go live for public mint. Let's make sure we are on the right wallet here. Yep, we are as public minter. And now we have almost 15 seconds to go. Okay, here's the countdown. 2, 1, and mint is live. That's when everybody starts to click on mint, but we won't do that right now. Let's take a look at this. We set 1 hour for the mint to end, and that's what we see here. We still see 2 remaining, and the price is 1. And actually, let's hit mint now. Okay, this looks good. And hit approve. And it got minted. Let's look at our wallet. And here we have our NFT. This looks good. So now let's say the first whitelist minter that we had, they got interested in having more of this NFT. They can totally do that. So going back to the UI here, I'll refresh just so that things are reset. And yeah, because the user does not have a whitelist token anymore, the price for them is 1 SOL and they have 1 NFT remaining. So they can hit mint. Approve the transaction. And this looks good. And because all the NFTs were minted, we see sold out here. Dream of every NFT project, isn't it? And also, let's take a look at the treasury account that we had. So going to the treasury account, I think they started with 4 SOL and now it's 7 SOL. So it has 3 extra SOL here, which makes sense. We had 2 whitelist users which minted at 0.5 SOL, and then 2 other NFTs were minted at 1 SOL, which adds up to 3 SOL. So all the proceeds went to your treasury account here. Perfect. Okay, that's it for this video. I hope now you understand how you can launch a new NFT collection with the right settings as you see for various projects. So now you can have whitelist users and then have public users to mint your NFT collection. If this video helped you, please don't forget to like it, and please subscribe if my videos help you. And also, please don't forget to follow me on Twitter. I'm not so active there, but I'm trying to be more frequent there as well. Thanks to all the engagement from all of you. It's helping me be motivated, and I'm already working on my next video, so it's coming out soon. I hope this was helpful. Thank you, everyone.